Hi, my name is Pichen and I'm with the Department of Human Factors of the Ulm University. And today I want to present you my work from SAE level to cooperative task distribution, an efficient and usable way to deal with system limitations. So why should we use the automation? So first, the automated services can help improve the driver safety due to the superiority of the sensors and the processing power of the automated services. But there are certain situations where the sensor quality doesn't reach a sufficient limit and the driver has to take back control over the vehicle. And the more efficient way of dealing with those failures of individual automated services is a cooperative approach where the driver does not have to take over the whole driving task, but certain subtasks of the driving task. So what we have here is a model of the automated driving task based on the manual driving task defined by Pichen. And we see a control level, a maneuvering level, and a strategic level, which are all handled by the automation. And the automation controls the lateral and longitudinal control of the vehicle. On the other hand, the vehicle gives back the sensor information to the automation, so the automation can continuously drive without the help of a human driver. But what happens if one of the sensors is blocked or doesn't reach a certain sufficiency level? So we can handle this situation in two ways. First, there could be a takeover where the driver takes back the control of the vehicle and drives in manual mode. This is a distinct approach where either the automation or the driver is responsible for the driving task. The second approach would be a cooperative approach where the driver takes over certain subtasks of the driving tasks and helps the automation. And we asked ourselves, how do the different approaches affect different subjective variables while driving with such an automated system? So we had 5 hypotheses, and the first one was that the perceived usability will be higher with the cooperative approach. The second one was that trust should not differ between both approaches. The third one is that the perceived usefulness and satisfaction will be higher with the cooperative approach. The fourth one is the workload demand will be lower with the cooperative approach. And the last one is that the time efficiency and the automation usage will be higher with the cooperative approach. The study was conducted inside our driving simulator using the simulation software CLab. And the driving simulator has a 160-degree immersive view and implements all the essential control units such as the steering wheel and the pedals. The driving data was recorded throughout the experiment, and the automation could be turned on and off freely by the participants on a central stack display. There was an auditive signal when the system reached a sensor limit, and the participants could freely decide to turn off the automation then or interact with the vehicle accordingly. To compare both approaches, we implemented a rural road scenario with a speed limit of 100 kilometers per hour. This is the standard speed limit on German rural roads. On this road, there were 6 slower vehicles in front of the ego vehicle. Those slower vehicles were driving with 60 kilometers per hour. And the story was that the vehicle sensor view is blocked by those vehicles, and the drivers had to decide if they want to overtake or not the slower vehicle. And throughout the track, there was randomly oncoming traffic. Both approaches were compared in a within subject design. There were the two approaches on a sensor limit. First, the distinct approach where the driver has to take back the control, overtake the slower vehicle manually, and then give back the control to the automation. The second approach was the cooperative approach, where the driver only has to assure that an overtake in this situation would be safe, and then initiates this overtaking maneuver by turning the steering wheel to the left. The participants drove in an autonomous mode throughout the track until the vehicle reaches a sensor limit and gives a short auditive feedback. There was a short training course to get familiar with the driving simulator, and each track took around 20 minutes. There were 18 participants, 10 female and 8 male participants from 21 to 54 years old. To have a driver's license was a precondition, and on average they had a driver's license for 6.5 years, and the purpose of the study was not explained until they finished the experiment. The results show that there's a higher usability using the cooperative approach. Also, there is no significant difference in trust. There's a slightly higher trust in the cooperative approach. There's no significant difference in acceptance, neither in the perceived usefulness nor the perceived satisfaction. And there is a lower workload with the cooperative approach, even though in both conditions there's a relatively low workload. And there's a higher time efficiency and a higher automation usage with the cooperative approach. One participant had to be excluded due to a recording error, but on average they took around 21 minutes with the distinct approach and around 19 minutes with the cooperative approach. So to conclude the findings of the study, the cooperative approach seems a more suitable approach for sensor limits, or if a sensor is blocked in the car. The lower workload of the cooperative approach could be an advantage in more complex situations. We had a simple situation to test both approaches. In future studies, we wanted to test a more complex scenario with both approaches. The higher automation usage can lead to an increased driving safety due to the superiority in the processing power of the automation. And a relatively low number of participants may be the reason for some results not being significant. So in future studies, we also want to have more participants. And last, to validate all the findings, this also should be tested in a real vehicle experiment to show the transferability into a real life traffic scenario. Thanks for listening, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.